Being drafted is one of the coolest moments for a young player's career. 3 of the 4 of us were drafted here. Sorry, Jay.
It's okay.
But I want to go through a little detail of the process, any cool stories that we experienced, what it's like going from a college player to being drafted into the NFL. What's that moment like, AQ?
Well, it was an interesting moment because I got drafted in the 7th round, right? So I'm sitting there waiting, and I get a call from Russ Grimm. You guys remember Russ Grimm? Russ Grimm was the offensive line coach.
His son coached with me.
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals. He calls me the day before the draft. He says, listen, your tape is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. 1st round talent, 2nd round talent, whatever you want to call it. You're 6'1", you got 29-inch arms. There's not a GM in this league that's going to take you early. You're going to be waiting around for a while. Doesn't matter where you start. I just wanted to give you a call and let you know your tape's good. Doesn't matter where you start. Be ready to go wherever you go. So I'm like sitting there, and I start getting calls in like the 3rd round, 4th round. And these calls, every time I get a call, you're excited, right? You don't know this because you went the 1st. Colt does this a little bit. But you get these calls, and they're just calling to make sure you're healthy, right? Hey, we're thinking about you. If you're around in this, we might, So for 3 days, this is going on. Last day, I got all this family there. I'm like, all right, I'm definitely going day 3. We get in the 7th round. There's 1 round left. I'm like, might not go. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm sitting there. I got all this family around. I got all these friends there. Everyone's looking at me. I'm getting these calls. All these calls are like, hey, if you don't get drafted, we want you as a free agent. I'm like, Jesus, this sucks. This is terrible.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a walk.
Yeah.
So all these people, I got like 100 people in my house. I go for a walk. I get a call from Pittsburgh. Hey, we're drafting you. I'm not even home. I'm up the street. I start running home. Getting drafted. I'm running the house. Right as soon as I walk in the house, it goes on the screen. Everybody gets excited. You go from this fact of being extremely elated to then being like, holy shit, this just happened, right? Like that, like for me, I think that was the coolest moment. And then a week later, you're at a rookie minicamp. And then a week after that, you walk into the locker room and there's Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, Ben Roethlisberger, Santonio Holmes, Hines Ward. And you're like, I just watched these guys for the last 10 years. Just won Super Bowl. So for me, that was really cool. And then it's like business as usual. Get back to work. Figure out how to make this
And you're
team.
from Pittsburgh. So what was that like when it was the Steelers that were calling and you're in Pittsburgh? Everyone there, I'm assuming, is Steelers fans. It was probably even a crazier celebration.
Yeah, it was awesome. There's no question about it. I grew up a huge Steeler fan. My dad, as Pittsburgh gets. So from that moment, it was awesome. Looking back on it, that was the worst place I could have gone. I mean, I literally was there for a year. I'm getting tugged at in every different direction. I got everybody asking for tickets. I was like, get me out of this place. And I did.
Tell me your story. 1st round pick.
Yeah, it was never thought I'd play in the NFL. Like I didn't go. Syracuse was my only offer. Like you look at Ashton Genty. Like they were the worst college football team when I went there. I was like, I'm going to get a degree in finance and I'm going to go work on Wall Street. I end up at Syracuse going against 3 first-round picks. I'm going against Chandler Jones every day, who we were teammates with in Arizona, one of the premier edge rushers in our league for a while. We both didn't know how good we were. I saw him get drafted 1st round the year before, and I'm like, damn, I'm blocking this guy, and he's got drafted the 1st round. Then he gets double-digit sacks his rookie season, and I start getting calls because we played Nick Perry from USC, who got drafted in the 1st round by the Packers. And then Bruce Irving was at West Virginia, and I locked Bruce down both times we played them. So I'm starting to see like these guys I'm playing against are getting drafted in the 1st round. You probably saw them more in the Big Ten. Guys you're playing against, you're like, wow, I know I can play at a high level. But when you were at Syracuse and we're not Texas, we're not Penn State at that time, I started getting calls from agents, and they're like, hey, we think you could be late 1st round, early 2nd. I'm like, holy shit. My mom's a school teacher. My stepdad was in construction his whole life and project management. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. And we go through the agent process, end up signing with an agent. We were talking about this last night, signed with my boy Andy Ross, and went to the Senior Bowl. I was the first junior to play in the Senior Bowl because I graduated early. And teams started telling me, like, hey, we love what you do on film. Then they measured my arms. They're like, 32.5-inch arms. You can't play tackle in the league. And other teams said they could. I was an Eagles fan growing up, so I was trying to push the Eagles to draft me. They had the 4th overall pick, so I thought maybe the 2nd pick in the 4th pick in the 2nd round, maybe that would pop up. I did not get invited to the draft, so obviously the NFL didn't think I was going to go in the 1st round. So my mom got every hat for every team. She had all of them except for the Cleveland Browns. I guess she could. That one didn't come in time, so apologies. Were you in? When were you? What years were you in Cleveland?
I got drafted to the Browns.
10.
Yeah.
This was the 13 draft. So I didn't have the Browns hat. And I remember that morning, one of my friends prank phone called me and was telling me he was from the Cleveland Browns, real asshole friend of mine. And they had like a 6 overall pick. I think they took like Barkevius Mingo at that year in that draft, who never played. And I'm like, holy shit, I might go 6 overall to the Cleveland Browns. It was a crazy, crazy experience. All my friends and family came over. The biggest pressure for me was the same thing you face. Like, you have all your family and friends there. You're not invited to the draft, and you're like, this is a big pressure if I don't go first round. All these people are here. I don't want to let them all down. And as the draft started going, pick number 1, Eric Fisher. Pick number 2, Luke Jokel to the Jags. Pick number 3 was, I think it was Deion Jordan. 4 was Lane Johnson. It was DJ Fluker, Chance Warmack. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there. What's the guy? Jonathan Cooper from Arizona. After 12, my stepdad had this checklist of like, there's no more tackles left. Like, you're the next guy that's on the board. And I thought the Cowboys were going to take me at 18. You see something pops up on the horn. They trade the pick. They didn't even spell my name right when I went to Cowboy Stadium and sat down with Jerry Jones anyways. They put, welcome to Cowboy Stadium, Jordan Pugh. And I'm like, yeah, they're not drafting me. There's no shot. They trade out. The Bears had worked me out right before, like a private workout. They had the 20th overall pick. So I'm like, all right, I'm probably going to Chicago to the Bears. And the New York Giants called me out of nowhere. I met with them at the combine, 19th overall, going to the New York Giants. And I remember everyone in my family was just like, the New York fucking Giants? Like, everyone, like, we're all Eagles fans. The New York fucking Giants. Tom Coughlin calls me. He goes, you got to burn all your Eagles stuff. And you hear me on the phone like, I'm going to burn it all, coach. I'm getting rid of all my Eagles shit. And the rest was history. But I just still remember that night. We just kept saying, the New York fucking Giants? Like, I'm a Giant now? And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Close enough to home where all my family could come see me play. But getting drafted to New York City in that environment, there's no city on planet Earth like New York City. And to be the first round pick and to get to, I went to Syracuse University, so I get the New York kind of college team. So it completely changed my life. But being the first round pick, there's a lot of pressure. Like, they had just won a Super Bowl recently and the O-line was aging, and that was my job to come back. And we started at 0-6 my rookie year. I felt all the pressure on me. Like, I'm the reason why the Giants are 0-6 right now. There was a lot of other reasons for it, but great experience. It's actually, I have it on YouTube. All my friends like dogpiled on top of me. And the next day I had like news vans outside the house. So for a guy that didn't think he would play college football, let alone make it to the NFL, it was something I'll never forget. It was an amazing experience.
What was it like going back to New York after being the first round pick there and then leaving and going to Arizona and then?
Yeah, I mean, free agency is a weird thing. It's like you become a mercenary in the NFL. Like, you're playing for a chance to continue to play and continue to make money in the NFL. When I was drafted to the New York Giants, and every team that you probably played on says once a whatever, always a whatever. Once a Giant, always a Giant. But when I was drafted by the New York Giants, I believed, like, I embodied once a Giant, always a Giant. And I saw Chris Snead, David Deal, Eli Manning, Justin Tuck. That's what I wanted for my career. So I always wanted to wrap up. And I didn't want to just retire as a Giant and say, like, throw a press conference so I can retire. I didn't want a Super Bowl. We went to the wild card game and got bounced by the Packers. So I was like, what way can I actually impact the team that drafted me and gave me my shot? Was to go play for them one more year. So I'm coming off torn ACL, and to go back in New York, the fans really embraced me. It was great to go back to where I started my career. The Arizona Cardinals, sometimes they're like, oh yeah, you're just a free agent that we signed. You're not one of the homegrown guys. And teams feel differently about homegrown guys versus mercenaries they bring in through the draft or through free agency. I think it's the best experience, one of the best teams to get drafted to, but the pressure that came with it is, I'm excited to see who they take. They got the 3rd overall pick. This guy in New York this year is coming into a crazy situation. And if it's a quarterback, you played quarterback in New York, you know the pressures of that position in that city. It's going to add even another level of scrutiny. Like Tennessee and Cleveland, there isn't the same pressure to perform there as there is in a team like a New York, like a Pittsburgh, like playing in Washington. There's something different about going to some of those organizations. And I had the pleasure of playing for the Giants, and it was definitely a dream come true for me. All right, Colt, your turn.
I had the chance to come out my junior year. You kind of go through that process. We had a good year. I had played for 3 years. And so, you sit down with Coach Brown, and he's like, you're not going anywhere. You're coming back. But you go, and I had got told that I would probably be late first round, mid to late first round, early second round. It was really Stafford and Mark Sanchez and me if I came out. And I didn't really know, like at the time, I didn't go, I'm like you, I didn't go to college to go to the NFL. I went to college to go to college, right? And I ended up having the opportunity of a lifetime to go earn a job and play for 4 years. Really, no college quarterbacks are doing that anymore.
On Underdog, you can play your way to bigger boosts each round of the playoffs with the Extender. Start a series by using your Game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game. The longer the series, the bigger the boosts. Underdog, the best place to pick playoff basketball.
Did they think that when you got to Texas, were you thought to be the next starter? Or?
No.
Yeah.
No. When I went to Texas, I was kind of I became ranked because I signed at Texas. But before Texas offered me a scholarship, nobody knew who I was. We had like the number 2 recruiting class 3 recruiting class in the country. Smallest recruiting class in UT history. We had like 13 guys. A lot of them went to the NFL, great players. But we went from like the number 3 recruiting class to like out of the top 10 when I signed because I was so lowly ranked. Coach Brown recruited me as a quarterback, but kind of as just like, well, we'll see. You're an athlete kind of.
What was your college record as a starter?
45-7.
Yeah, big dog.
But you got to play. I got to play 4 years, which I came out in my freshman year. I redshirted. It was probably the best thing I ever did.
Me too. Yeah.
Then I watched Vince Young. That whole year we went undefeated, and I knew one thing right away is like I'll never be Vince Young. I'm not 6'5". I'm not 240. I can't run like he does. Like I had to find an edge somehow. And, really that year was great for me. And then, Coach Brown always told me like nothing for you, especially like nothing is given around here. Like you got to go earn it. He made me do that every year, which was great. Played 4 years, but after my third year, I thought really hard about going to the NFL. Maybe looking back, you should have, but I still love the decision to come back for my senior year. We lost a lot of good players. We were going to be younger in some positions, but I felt like overall, what I experienced early in my career, going to the Rose Bowl, win the national championship, like I knew the national championship was going to be back in the Rose Bowl. I felt like we could win the Big 12 and get to that game. And so that was really like the reason why. That was my mindset. But then I get hurt. That's the worst. I would never wish that upon my worst enemy, to get hurt in a game like that, like on a stage like that. You work so hard, not just me, everybody. That was our goal. That's all we talked about, which was good. That's why I came back. I had a pretty decent year my senior year, but nobody knew if I was going to be able to throw the ball like I always had. I had a bad neck injury, stinger, dead arm, and even when I had to go back, I had to go to the combine. You're getting medical tested by all 32 teams. There was really I was seeing hockey doctors because that was like a big injury in hockey. And then you go back for the recheck and you're taking all these nerve tests, needles everywhere. It was the worst. But no doctor, and especially no team doctor, will pass like your neck, or tell you,
it's one of those areas.
He's going to be ready and back perfect by this time, X date. It was a pretty extreme injury. And so that made me drop. I honestly had teams telling me that same thing as you, like loved you. We were going to draft you in the first round last year. Like we still love you. I just don't know I don't know where you are. We like our doctors, like we're talking to our doctors every week. My agent was like, we'll see. So I went into the draft. You get all your friends and your family, come to your house. Everybody's pulling for you. Had a good career in college. Everybody's excited. And then I ended up getting drafted on the second day in the third round, which kind of was like a punch in the face, right? Because you made the decision to come back and you played good, but you got hurt. Like the injuries are killer. But at the end of the day, you're like, I got a chance. And Cleveland drafted me, and really it was Mike Holmgren at the time. Had come in, and we had so much turnover there. It was like my first 3 years was just new coaches, new GMs. There was a lot, but it was really a situation where I came in and they were like, "You're not going to play. Like this is another redshirt year for you to get healthy." And then we had some injuries, and all of a sudden, like I was playing on Sundays, only practicing like once or twice a week because my arm wasn't like fully ready, but still had a pretty good year. We had some chances to win some games down the stretch. We won some of them and didn't win the other ones, like should have. And then the worst thing that happened for me early on as a young guy, which I was still kind of banged up, was then you go into the lockout. Then you get a new head coach. Then you get a new team. You bring in all these new players. You get a new general manager. You don't know who's like on your side and who's not. Well, I didn't get the playbook till like 2 weeks before the season started. That was probably the weirdest transition of my early career, was just dealing with all the stuff, right? And I never thought about like, man, I should have come out my junior year. Like, I never thought about it that way. I think from a draft standpoint, like being injured going into this process is the worst, you know, and like having your family sit around and we're so excited. We can't wait to see and you just wait and wait and wait. And like I was telling people, like, I had my agent call me and he told me, he's like, look, man, like this could be a situation where nobody's going to draft you, right? No doctors have really like stood on the table and said like, this guy's going to be ready at this time and he's going to be fine. Everybody liked my
How
tape.
long did it take for you to really get to 100% again? You said you were dealing with it during your rookie.
It took a good year and a half.
Yeah.
Really into my second year where you felt stronger again. Like I remember I'd be doing bench press and I'd be doing it like this. You know, you're using your lat, you know, because it's not all fully there. It never 100% comes back. You learn how to get with doctors and trainers and help, and went out to Tom House after that injury and he gave me like this great program, a strength program where that helped me build that back up. But you're thankful that you got drafted. I'm thankful the Browns gave me a chance, right? It turned into a 14-year career. And, you know, I battled a ton of injuries after that, which is part of the game. But from a draft standpoint, it's like you want to get drafted high. You have all these things. It didn't happen for me, but you still get a chance. And then it's what you do with that chance, you know, that makes all the difference. So it'll happen to guys every year. It'll happen to somebody this year, right? They'll get drafted later than what they want. And you have that competition, anger, and frustration, but you got to go out there and perform. Everybody in the NFL is good.
Who effing who? First round. Who? Seventh round. I'm so sorry. Third round. Sorry I had to wait till the third round. I was a free agent. I didn't get drafted, you punks.
What was that like, Jay?
Well, I had a prank phone call as well. Third round.
So we're going to say
My buddy, my left guard, Mike McKinney, calls me. Hey, phone call for the New York Giants for taking your third round. Really? Hey, just kidding. You suck. God, dang it. That was brutal. This is by myself in my house. No family. No friends. You know. But hey, sorry to hear about your sob stories, man. I really teared up during this whole thing.
Was there a draft in the arena leagues?
You want to get slapped in the head?
I don't know. I'm asking.
No, everybody's a free agent. Well, when teams folded, we had a draft.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Were you the first pick in the draft for that arena league?
No, I was a free agent. Chip Ferguson and myself battled it out. Remember Chip Ferguson from Florida?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Chip Ferguson. Yeah.
Beat him out.
Oh, Chip
Actually
Ferguson.
went as a free agent to the Miami Dolphins, mind you. Got there about a week before the season started. Is it going to be a developmental squad? I was going to be the developmental squad quarterback. They just let go of Cliff Stout, Dan Marino's brother, Cliff Stout. Dan Marino's golf buddy. So I get there, I get the playbook, throwing little pat and goes. Jim Jensen crash, get out of here. He's throwing. I only threw like 5 passes. That day, Thursday before the Buffalo game, somebody ran around the corner and hit Dan Marino's right elbow. He threw the next ball in the dirt, scoring like this. I was gone the next day. Cliff Stout was back. Dan Marino faked that injury to get his buddy back on the team.
No way.
I'm 100% convinced that son of a gun, Dan Marino, faked that injury.
Dan, we have
I got
questions, Dan.
Two-day paycheck from the Miami Dolphins. That's my claim to fame in the National Football League.
Did you frame it?
And I cashed it. Bought myself a 6-pack.
How much was the check?
It was like $365.
For 2 days.
I think practice squad back then was like $1,000, $2,000 a week, something like that. So yeah, that was my NFL story. I'm sticking to it.
What was it like as a coach going through the draft? I mean, there's been years where you're sitting there breaking down guys.
Yeah.
Can't draft this guy, can't short arms.
Well, you do your evaluations, and then you get the list of guys from the trainers that are Reds. And those guys are off limits, or character-wise. Like there's some really good players in the NFL right now that we could not touch from a character standpoint.
Who makes that decision? The owner? The GM?
GM, owner, scouts, all that stuff. They all get together about a week before the draft and do all the red dots and the black dots, whatever they are.
The New York Giants did the offseason Hard Knocks last year, and they had a gold sticker on Milton. What the hell was that all about? You remember that? Every player was something like a bunch of players. There was green, there was blue, there was black, and then just Joe Milton was in gold.
No idea.
Does that mean like Hall of Fame?
That's what I'm saying. The world still doesn't know. Why was Joe Milton, who gets taken in the 6th round, had a gold all around his name?
Luxury pick, maybe, if you get him in the 7th. You know, it's our luxury guy. Jack, who knows? I'm just guessing, Justin. I'm just guessing. But for a coach in the draft, it's, you have so many different people grading these guys. You got your scouts, you got your GM, you got your coaches, you got your possessive coaches, your coordinators, and then you got the president. Everybody got their hands in there. It should be a 3rd, 2nd round. But at the end of the day, you have 1st round quarterbacks, bang, 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 running backs, wide receivers, there's 4 or 5 of them, tackles, guards, centers, go on to the defense, and then 2nd round, same thing, and all that stuff. And then you try to jinx, he's got him in the 3rd round, we should put him up to the 2nd. And there's always the last bit, 1st round, that's a little too rich for that guy. Let's put him in the 2nd. What's this guy doing in the 6th? Get him up to the 4th. So yeah, that's what it's like on draft day. And then draft comes and gone. Damn it, who are we gonna get? I remember, right? Scott McCloughan. I love Scott McCloughan. All right, didn't work out at Washington, neither did I. But we were sold on Ryan Kelly at 16. I think he was 16. Ryan Kelly, the center from Alabama. We're gonna get him. He's like, nobody's gonna take him. I've talked to everybody. Nobody's taking Ryan Kelly. Right? We got 16. Pick 15. Indianapolis Colts select Ryan Kelly. Bang! I thought he broke his wrist. I mean, it was unbelievable the sound that he hit the table with. I mean, his hands swelled up, and I'm like, okay, who we taking now, boys? And that's when we ended up taking Josh Doctson, because there was really nobody else 1st round talent in that draft that we had ranked in the 1st round. There was 2 defensive tackle slugs from Bama. There was a couple other receiver slugs that were never panned out. And Josh was a hit or a miss. He was going to be a home run or a strikeout. Came in, he never was healthy, and ended up striking out with him.
And you never even met with him.
Never met with him one time. Never knew who he was. Josh Doctson. I know I watched him on tape. He had a pretty good grade because of his athletic ability. Jumped like 48-inch vertical, sick jumps, hops. But he was hurt in college a lot. We didn't have a red dot on him for some reason. We took him. Then we got him. Then he was hurt.
When you look at the franchises that have been really good over the years, in my opinion, the Packers, the Steelers, the Patriots, the Ravens, right? It seems like they never reach for picks like that. Like, I feel like if they were in that position,
it wasn't a reach. He's the only guy available.
I get it, but I feel like in that position, if it doesn't fit their scheme, it doesn't fit exactly what they're looking for, they trade out, they trade back, they move away. Like, right? Like, is that like, how does that process go about? Like, was that even a thought process in that moment?
The trade back?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody asked to trade. The phone wasn't ringing. It's very challenging, you get all these grades. And the most important thing when you're grading players is to listen to other people. Just don't be one-sided. I love this guy, Dylan Sampson. And then some guy, he's too little. You listen to everybody's, and then you make your final grade, and hopefully you get the right kid, right fit for your team, right fit for the building.
Let me just piggyback off kind of my original story. What I will say is I go to Pittsburgh, and it obviously didn't work out for me in Pittsburgh. But the one thing that I think most people don't realize is, like, when the situation doesn't work out, like, don't pout. Don't sit there and, like, burn a bridge. Don't do anything stupid, because you never know when you're going to work with those guys again.
Yeah.
Well, my offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh that year was Bruce Arians. My offensive line coach was Harold Goodwin. I ended up having Harold Goodwin as my O-line coach for 9 years, Bruce Arians as my head coach for 9 years on 4 different teams.
Yeah. That's a great point.
There's the biggest takeaway as a young player. Don't piss off anybody in the building.
What I learned at Texas was that you're battling with the best competition in Texas or in the country to start or play there. It's the same way when you move to the NFL, right? There's always going to be an influx of running backs. There's always going to be an influx of talent every year. And so, like, your process of being able to just understand that, not take things like super personal, and just go out there and compete and win your job, that's what matters most, right? And you'll be rewarded for that if you can figure out ways to stay healthy and make it work, right? Just like you were. I think a lot of times now in this day and age, and with NIL and with players and with personalities and with making money in college, like, you can't be that sensitive when you move to the NFL, because it's a production business. It's about doing things right and making plays on Sundays. If you ever get your feelings hurt, if you get upset, or you don't like there's no more like, oh, I'm out, I'm gonna transfer, I'm gonna go. You can't do that. You're under contract, right? Like, you can pout a little bit if you're like, an elite dog, but like at the end of the day, you gotta go figure out a way to earn your job every single day.
And that starts following you too, that reputation of like always requesting a trade and always that follows with you too. And that negative reputation might hinder you from going somewhere where you want to go or signing with a team in free agency. A coach like, oh, if you burn that bridge with Bruce Arians or that coach, now all of a sudden you're not playing for that guy.
Because they all talk.
Yeah.
Like if you're
these things gossip right here. These things gossip.
No, we don't.
Coaches, oh my God, you guys gossip.
All talk.
You know who needs to be gossiping? All the viewers out there. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, dropping a comment on here. Say something nice to Jay. We're always looking for good comments for Jay. Keep following along, Clean Pocket. If you want the inside stories from what it's like in the NFL, make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
Gotta take a walk. And then I got drafted by the Steelers. I ran back home. It was so dramatic.
Spice up your sports viewing experience with the Underdog app. Underdog is the best place to play. Pick 'em on all of your favorite sports. Just choose higher or lower on your favorite players' stats, and you can join the millions of fans who have won billions of dollars on Underdog. What are you waiting for? Sign up now using promo code POCKET. That's POCKET, and you can get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Download the Underdog app or visit UnderdogFantasy.com to get started today.